Welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So today I'm going to be talking about a buddy read that I did with Todd, the Librarian. So we did a different kind of buddy read where we just selected books from a genre that each of us normally do not read. So in his case, he reads a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, and I read a lot of contemporary and as well as romance. So I'm going to be reading Midworld by Alan Dean Foster, and he's going to be reading Stay With Me. So I'm going to start by saying that I knew a little about this author, and he is a well-known sci-fi author. So when I picked up the book, I realized it was published in 1975, but there's not any new copies out. So I wasn't able to get any, so I had to settle for ebook copy. There were a few used copies out there, but what these people were charging was just outrageous. But it is a cult fan. It's very common, known in the sci-fi world. I guess they could get away with that. But anyway, so this is a story that is set in an unknown world. These are people who are they look a little short, and they're very connected to the earth. Well, not the earth, but to their world, to the forest, and to everything in the forest. You know, the good and the bad. And they appreciate it. It's a part of them, and they're, protective of certain things in there that they need, especially a tree that is in where they dwell. So we have a character named Juan, and he is just known to be, very brave. But people also think he's a bit crazy because of the risks that he will take. So every so often he goes into the forest and he hunts and come back with stuff. But people don't, look at him as brave. They just kind of like, okay, yeah, he's just doing it. So in this particular quest that he went on to hunt, he saw something in the forest that was unusual, and he came back and told the village. And in this case, they were just like, "Oh, it's a demon." And he's like, "No, I don't think it's a demon." But no one wanted to go back initially to see what was going on. And when he went to see what was happening, he found two human. And these human, once again, was in a bad situation. That he met them when he saw them the first time, where a monster in the forest is trying to kill him. So they survived. He brought them back, and in doing so, they were fascinated. They thought it was weird. They never even knew people were living there, and these people were much shorter than they were. So they thought it was interesting. But they knew nothing about these two human, these male and female. They knew nothing about them. But at the same time, he's a caring person, and he wanted to help. So they wanted to get back to their base. And in doing so, they would have to go on a long trip because, one, they don't know exactly where they are, and Bourne has never ventured past a certain distance. They're known like maybe around 3 days or so they will go out, and after that they are not able to survive past that from their history. So him going with them to a certain amount of days and away from his land and his surrounding is dangerous. But he decided to do it, and once again people thought he was crazy. So with doing that, the first adventures he went out, they had to turn back because there was a danger heading to his people way, and he had to go and protect them. And this is where you get to see how brave and clever he was, and how he was able to stop the disaster from happening. So on the second quest now, where you really get to see the adventure, all these monsters and tree dwellers that are dangerous, that are connected to certain areas in the forest, and you have to be mindful where you stay, where you sleep, where you walk. All these things, even just breathing in certain areas might wake up a monster that you don't know. And this is where I struggle a little bit with the imagination part, because when they're describing certain plant monsters or even animals in general, I just was kind of like went over my head a little, because I'm like, how does that look again? But it's because I don't read a lot in this genre, so I'm a little shaky on my imagination part of it when they describe certain things. But anyway, they were able to get past certain things. There's a scene I really love where they have to decide where they want to jump down in this hole and survive, or be eaten alive. And both are dangerous anyway, but you have to weigh what's the better risk here. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And I was like, whoa, really? You know, and I really loved that part of the story. But when it did get to the home base for these two humans, this is where you really get to know why they're there in the first place, and how, you know, their greed and their desire for certain kind of in life longevity, and they were willing to destroy the forest in order to get this certain plant. And, you know, Bourne being that his people are very respectful of everything in the forest, even the things that are dangerous and are no good to them, or, you know, has its purpose, and they respect the forest. And I think based on when it was written, you know, that I think it might have been an era when they were like, you know, we gotta save the rainforest kind of deal, because that's how this book kind of remind me of that. And but it was interesting, and there was one particular scene when they were talking about what they use certain plants to make perfume, and he's just kind of like, you want to smell like that, something dead. You know, I mean, I thought that was funny and interesting. And you know, but he was so brave, and he's like, that's not gonna happen. He's gonna destroy whatever he can, because you're not gonna come and destroy our land, our plants, our connection to us. And even if you don't understand why we feel that way, I'm not going to help you, and I'm not going to allow you to destroy. But there's also something in the book too that's interesting, where each of these people had an animal that's connected to them. And this animal the way they describe her, this animal is able to talk, communicate, and they're very clever, but they're connected. So if one died, the other one will die as well. And, you know, I thought that was interesting. And also, you know, weird at times, but at the same time, you know, when in certain parts of the book, I really love how they connect both in the story. And it was interesting. I do love this story. I do, from what I know, it's supposed to be like there's a certain spin-off from it, so I might indulge in some of that. But it's a good story, and it makes you think about you know, these people, how they appreciate the land that they live in and everything around them. And, you know, a lot of times we don't appreciate it. You know, we don't think about it. You know, we used to talk about the bouquet of flower that, you know, like we would collect, and we're not, you know, we kill the plant. And, you know, where, you know, that would be like a forbidden thing. You know, they're intended for a purpose, whether it's medicine, whether it is you know, something else, but it's just, everything has a purpose. And I do love this story. It's sci-fi, you know, with still a message, you know, and I love that about it. So, and that's it. That's all I have to say about the story.